Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So today we're gonna talk about Lunalight, but more specifically we're going to talk about Liger Dancer. This deck is in a lot of people's radar now. People realized that this scenario right here, which we can call the twin Liger Towers, not to say the shorter name of it, this is a board that a lot of people have to deal with this format. And when you first look at this board, it looks very, very powerful. Like, it's one of those boards that not every deck will have a tool in their arsenal to play around. A lot of strategies will just lose to this if they don't know what they're doing. That being said, if you have prior or proper knowledge of this, there are ways to beat this import. And this is not to offend anybody that has done Lunalight content, but I'm surprised and perplexed that not many people are bringing up real good outs to this typical board, because this is something you're gonna have to deal with when you're facing the North American WCQ and the Europe one right afterwards. So yeah, the first thing I want to show is how beatable is this board when you're facing the mirror match. This detail right here is very, very important, which means a lot of things can be done in the mirror that are kind of like funny, that just makes this board not as powerful. Now, the first thing you're probably thinking is, well, an easy out is to make like your own Liger Dancer and just pop all of this, right? But here's the thing, you don't always have 4 monsters for the Liger Dancer. Maybe you will, but if your opponent is smart and they try to play around with your resources, and you try to use your resources as often as possible, or if you end up in a position where you just don't have enough Luna names, there is one small trick that you can do to beat this M board. Let's say Perfume Dancer is already in your graveyard, and you have Kalator Chick and Black Sheep. It doesn't have to be Kalator Chick and Black Sheep, it could be any 2 Luna names, because we have Lunalight Fusion. The first thing we need to do is out the Baguska, because the problem is not the Liger Dancers. The problem is the Baguska stopping you from getting to your Lunalight rotation in order to beat the Liger Dancers. This is where SP Little Knight comes in. A lot of people will see Perfume Dancer plus another name, and they won't they won't Liger Dancer pop this immediately. And if they do, that's good for you, because that means that they're wasting their Liger Dancers early, which gives you more breathing room in order for you to keep doing your plays, in order to like out the second Liger Dancer, and so on and so forth. So one detail, Perfume Dancer can change the Liger Dancer's attack to 300. You will see that later on. But now we're going to add SP Little Knight, we're just going to add the Baguska. Now, this is what I brought up. You can Perfume Dancer makes this 300, and now all of a sudden you're already threatening the board, because now these Liger Dancers are not that big anymore. From 3800 to 300 is a really big deal. And we'll show other cards that help make this process possible, that is probably good for other strategies. So, now we're going to activate Lunalight Fusion, and you're probably thinking, well, we don't have enough names for Liger Dancer. Remember Panther Dancer? I brought this up on my last deck report. I told everybody that was looking into this deck that this card is very important in your extra deck. I've seen a lot of Lunalight deck lists, and a lot of lists do not play Panther Dancer. I think that's incorrect. I think you should be playing Panther Dancer. Not only does Panther Dancer allow you to OTK real quick with Perfume Dancer, but Panther Dancer is the material for Leo Dancer. And unlike Liger Dancer, Leo Dancer cannot be outed by Liger. But yeah. But as I digress, now that Leo Dancer is on the board, and you use the Perfume Dancer, all of a sudden this board is now audible. Outing the Baguska was important because Baguska would have turned the Leo Dancer to defense. That being said, now Leo Dancer is not in defense, and now you can just attack and use Leo Dancer's effect to pop the other one, or just attack into the other one. You did use SP Little Knight, so you kinda don't want to pop the other Liger, you just want to punch over them both. And this card is affected by cards. So the 10-key is given 100 extra attack. If you have other boosters that can just push it all the way to, like, for example, 4k attack, all of a sudden you can OTK your Lunalight Mirror opponent. Nadir Servant. So remember when I brought up Perfume Dancer? All of a sudden, Nadir Servant becomes now a new tool for like rogue decks to beat the Liger Dancer. This will make it so both Ligers have 300 attack, which means all you have to do is play around the Raigeki effect that they both have, or the Special Hurricane effect rather, that they both have in order to out your monsters. Bystials are also really important, and the reason I have to bring up the Bystials is because before I bring up the Bystials, yeah. So one thing about the Bystials is they can banish Kaleido Chick. So if you're playing the Lunalight Mirror match, all of a sudden you're threatening your opponent with the Kaleido Chick, because before this interaction, your opponent could just wait until the battle phase and just pop your monsters with both Ligers. If you resolve Kaleido Chick, they cannot do that anymore. So everything they want to do with the Liger Dancers, they have to do it before the battle phase. Which is good for you because it means that once both effects are exhausted, you can just proceed to do whatever you want. If they don't use their effects, they're just gonna be outed in the battle phase because they cannot activate their effects. And you're probably wondering, why is that so? Well, two reasons. One, this is affected by Lunalight cards. So Kaleido Chick is a Lunalight card, so it does affect them from not activating their effects. Also, it's very important how this is worded, and I'll show you why. It's not worded like other cards, and those other cards that I'm talking about are these: Salesman and Herald of the Abyss. Remember this card? This card was played in 2023 when Purely was a tier 1 deck. This was a tool to out the Purely Noir. Now, this tool will help us out Liger Dancer as well. Because the way this works is your opponent has to send the declared type and attribute, and after you do that, they cannot activate any other one. So if they send one Liger, they still keep one Liger, but this other Liger cannot activate its effects. Same thing with Salesman. If you declare the card name, the player or the duelist who has those cards cannot activate their effects. So Salesman is also another out to the Liger Dancer. Well, when I say out, I mean it freezes the Liger Dancer from using the Raigeki effect. And some decks can just beat over Liger Dancer. They can easily get to 4k attack. The hard part is getting to your 4k attacks and outing the Liger before the Liger does her pop effect. Because this is a soft once per turn, so that means both Liger Dancers can do it. You also have a new problem, because as good as Herald of the Abyss is and Salesman, they do have a tool to play against those cards, and that tool is Silver Hound. So Silver Hound, before we talk about Silver Hound, we should talk about those cards as well. Mistaken Accusation is another card. Is another out to the Liger Dancer, and as well as Foolish Burial Goods. We'll talk about Foolish Burial Goods later on. And also, we have to bring up Kurikara. This card will be played. Like, I already know that a lot of players will think about this card. So this card can also light out the Ligers. The Arumakarna Cannon is another card. Now let's go with the Bystial. So another reason why the Bystials are good in your deck is the Bystials can out the Silver Hound, which means that all these freezing cards are all become online, and they now serve a purpose to beat the Liger Dancer setup. Let's move all these cards out of the way for a moment. So let's talk about Foolish Goods. This card is already a staple in the Lunalight deck. I really don't like this card in post-2 the Lunalight, just because I feel like the deck already will be fixed out of the consistency with Masquerade and other cards. However, there is a really strong merit for playing this card in this particular format, and the reason is not only Yesterday Dance, there's another one. There's Lunar Perfume, this one. The Black Gold Laughs. You've probably already seen this card in some of my deck profiles. You already saw it in my past deck reports. You already saw it in my Labyrinth deck as well. This is a really strong card. And this card, the way it's worded, neither player can activate the monster. So, once you banish this Black Gold Laughs from your graveyard, you shut down both Liger Dancers. If you go first and you're playing the Lunalight Mirror Match, you can flip Black Gold Laughs and call Liger Dancer, and all of a sudden, your opponent cannot out your board with Liger Dancer anymore. And if they don't play Panther, again, you should be playing Panther in your deck, but since a lot of people are not doing that, this card just becomes the barrier for the mirror. Alright. So let's talk about other cards that other decks can play. So, if you're playing Ryziel, or you're playing the Lunalight Mirror Match, or you're playing like any rank 4 toolbox deck, maybe the Utopia Onomat deck is a good example, this card should be in your deck. This card is very good against Liger because the first effect of this card is not once per turn. And this is not an effect that activates, so not even Baguska can stop this effect. So yeah, if you're playing a strategy that can play rank 4s, you should play like Dragon. This card is very important for this matchup. If you're playing Ryziel variants, like Heraldic Beast variants, Onomat variants, all those cards, all those decks, this card basically protects your board against the double Leo Dancer. Cyber's Wicked. Malice players already are playing this in their extra deck. This card became significantly more important now because Liger Dancer cannot out this. And this also plays around Baguska too. So all of a sudden, Malice already has a tool already in their engine that can also out the Liger setup. I forgot to put the card right here, but if you play Mitsurugi, you also have Wosu. Wosu is also an out for the Liger. If that card is not in your deck, it should be in your deck now. And another really good out is White Woman. Yeah, I unironically think White Woman should be in your deck if you're playing like Link-centric strategy. It doesn't have to be Malice specifically, but like for example, decks like, off the top of my head, I can bring up like Fiendsmith variants, like decks that can just spam out a lot of monsters. Yeah. Another really cool thing is this is a Light Fiend, so if you're playing Fiendsmiths in your deck, this automatically becomes your Fiendsmith setup. Again, you're only outing one Liger out of this with this, but hey, if your strategy plays stuff like Access to Talker or stuff like others, like stuff that can bait the first Liger Dancer, all of a sudden your deck just became really strong against them. And one more thing I want to bring up. I see a lot of people playing this card. Don't play this. The ruling behind this card is not worded the way people think. You cannot substitute this as the material for Leo Dancer if you want to make Liger Dancer. If you look at Kaleido Chick and the way she is worded, whenever you use her as a fusion material, she is treated as the same monster's name. This is not the same thing as substitute. Treating a name and substituting a name are not the same thing. Like, if you want to, like, roll check with your head judge, yeah, feel free to do that. But I am more than certain that you cannot Beast King of the Swamp or cards similar to this into the Leo Dancers or like Liger Dancers. Otherwise, you probably would have seen Lunalights do this like for a long time, just for Leo Dancer itself. But yeah, that's it from me. I hope you found this informative to your liking and understanding. Yeah, this deck will be in the format. This deck is just as scary as Malice and Onomat Ryziel and Mitsurugi Ryziel and otk'd. I have to bring up those decks because those are probably the most meta contenders at the moment. Yeah, this is a very scary deck. And if you are caught off guard, you will see a lot of Lunalight tops. But yeah, that's it. Keep practicing and keep dueling.